The Pilgrims who founded Plymouth in Massachusetts left an indelible mark on American history and even world history, since America became such an important nation in the world. Yet the Pilgrims were just one particular Christian congregation from mid-England who were only trying to live out their faith in Jesus consistently. They had to borrow money to even finance the voyage of the Mayflower, and they paid it all back even to their own hurt because of their commitment to live according to biblical standards. The Pilgrims were generally of exemplary character, men and women.
In no colony in the country will you see two statues of women other than Plymouth, because we honored our women.
The Pilgrim mothers deserve far more credit than the Pilgrim fathers, in that they had to put up not only with all that the Pilgrim fathers did, but with the Pilgrim fathers themselves. The Dominion Illustrated Monthly.
If a child were to say, well, do I have to go to church? Imagine asking someone who has gone through what they've gone through, do I have to go to church? I think that the father would have said, you have no idea what I did and what our congregation did to get here so that you can go to church.
The Pilgrims diligently worked to pay back the loans that had allowed them to sail to America. Tragically, in a day before insurance, one of their ships laden with beaver skins and other goods to pay back their creditors was captured on its way to England. It was a total loss for the Pilgrims, but later they were able to completely pay back everything they owed. Eventually, other ships from Holland came as more of the congregation joined their separated brethren in the New World.
After the Pilgrims got settled in Plymouth, they were able to advertise and send word back to England saying to all the nonconformists, come to New England, you can worship here freely.
Plymouth led to Boston and led to Providence and led to Hartford and the surrounding communities. 400 years have come and gone since, and Plymouth likes to call itself America's hometown, and with good reason.
Hello, America's hometown!
What we do here in Plymouth, Mass. is really retell the story, the great story of America. And obviously we tell the whole Pilgrim story, why they came, why they fought to be here, and the outcome of their incredible sacrifice and faith to be here, and how it's totally transformed in this nation. Not only this nation, it's transformed the world because of their, what they did at the very beginning. Even the Mayflower Compact and on. The Pilgrim was really the founding of this great nation. So we're proud to be able to display that this morning and to share that with the rest of the world.
The Mayflower was a cargo ship, but the most precious cargo that was carried across the Atlantic were the ideas in the hearts of the Pilgrims that were drawn from the Bible. You see the seeds of liberty, both religious liberty and civil liberty, and the idea of self-government and rule from within. All these are within that body of Pilgrims.
Commercially, Plymouth was never a resounding success. Winston Churchill noted, the financial supports in London reaped no profits. In 1627, they sold out, and the Plymouth colony was left to its own resources. Such was the founding of New England. It may have technically been a commercial bust, but in so many other ways, Plymouth was a major outpost. The original stalwart souls who created a colony in the howling New England winter just so they could worship according to the dictates of conscience had far more influence on world history than they could have ever imagined.
They epitomize much of what was ideally the American view of law and government. They recognize that there is a higher law, the law of God, and that God presides over the affairs of nations.
It's amazing to me that you have pilgrims who came to this nation. And those pilgrims had a love for the Lord, and they brought that here, and that's part of the fabric. It's amazing to me that when the Pilgrims came, there was already a whole community called Native Americans who have contributed so much and still do to the beauty of this nation. It's amazing that a group would come over with the darker hues of skin, and they'd come on slave ships. And yet we helped to build this nation. And yet when we all come together, if we do it right, and we've been practicing a long time, at least 400 years, if not longer, but here's another opportunity to get it right. And I actually believe we can.
Thus, out of small beginnings, greater things have been produced by his hand that made all things of nothing, and gave being to all things that are. And, as one small candle may light 1,000, so the light here kindled hath shone unto many, yea, in some sort to our whole nation. Let the glorious name of Jehovah have all the praise. William Bradford.
Everything the Pilgrims did was, in their own words, to the glory of God and the advancement of the Christian faith. About a century later, a Puritan leader and writer named Cotton Mather said, "Despise not the day of small beginnings," which is a paraphrase of biblical teaching. And the Pilgrims had a small beginning that essentially blossomed into a nation. They were an amazing example of dedicated Christians who committed themselves to God, and despite the hardships they encountered, God seemed to show his amazing hand of providence at virtually every step along the way. For Providence Forum, I'm Jerry Newcomb.